y'all just gonna have to put up with the bad lighting. But I decided to make this video because I just realized after talking to a friend today, I was having a conversation with her, and just really we were talking about just different like paths and traditions in African traditional religion or spirituality or whatever you want to call it here in the diaspora here in the United States. And we were just talking about just different spiritual traditions. And I was kind of explaining to her like how some were apples and some I've come to realize are just oranges. And I think like I probably belong to one of the traditions that's like orange because it's not the same, or it doesn't operate in, I think, a quote unquote normal fashion, or it doesn't follow something that would seem typical. So, we were discussing just different traditions, like, say, for instance, Orisha Ifa tradition, which is highly structural, very traditional. I think it's highly hierarchical. Like I said, I don't belong to it, so I don't know. But it just seems that way. Like it has a liturgy, it's Odu Ifa. There's just, it's different. Um, and like I was, trying to explain to her that I think the difference, or what we're not understanding, is that in different spiritual traditions, like they're organized differently. So just because your tradition works in this particular way where it might be, highly hierarchical, highly structured, everyone belongs to a Ile, everybody has a godparent. Um, not everyone is initiated because some people are just devotees, but then there are priests. Then to come, from a different tradition where none of that is, I don't even know the word. I don't want to say none of that's relevant. None of that exists. None of that exists. So it's like, you know, um, it's a different lane. It's apples and it's oranges, and that's just from my personal observation, like what I've seen. So, like in my tradition, I don't have a godparent. There is no initiation. Like, there's no hierarchy. There's no Odu Ifa. Like, everything is very, like, how I call it, is like a living tradition. It's very fluid. It's changeable. It's adaptable. You know, um, it's gonna change tomorrow. Not even that it's gonna change tomorrow. You practice as it comes. I don't know if that makes sense because that's going to sound very odd to some people when you say practice as it comes, meaning like you might not ever do the same thing twice. There's no, how would I say, or just what I've, there's no, there's no set deities. It's really pan spiritual. It, if I was to just um, describe it, it literally is pan spiritual, and that's why people say like, "Oh, you ever see talk about the Orisha?" Yeah, because I could use the Orisha if I want to. That's, yeah, definitely. I can use them, but I don't have to. Um, and it's just I really believe like even just the lineage structure is different. So you might belong to an Ile of people that you're not particularly, I guess, I don't know, related to by family bond. You're in an Ile, you have a godparent, you have god sisters and god brothers, but you guys are, everybody's from a different place. Whereas in other spiritual traditions, you might belong to a group, but you belong to a group of spirits that are family based. So that's highly different. And then the practice itself is highly individual. There's no, like I would say, yeah, it's highly individual. I it's I I think it's akin to being like an independent artist. That's how I always tell people, like, yeah, there's a group of people, like, they might all be on one record label. They're on Epic, Death Row, whatever, because that's what you signed up for. Like, that is your spiritual group. That's what you got initiated to. But for other people, then you work together. Okay, does that make sense? Great. Then there's other traditions that are highly like individualistic, and it's not a bad thing, and it doesn't mean that those people can't even work with other people. It's just that's literally how the tradition works. It's just a person and then they work. There's no like, I don't ever see me having um like got children. That it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. Like, I can't see that. And then even if, like, say in a practice, and I might be rambling, but just bear with me, because it's something I really feel like I need to, like, sit down and, like, explain to people, because I think that's part of the intrigue, is that it's different. You could find someone else practicing the same spiritual tradition and they belong to a different family group, and they're going to do totally different things. There's no, like, set practices. There's no, like, I know, I believe in Ifa Orisha, when they do certain Ebo, it's like done like this. You do this, 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 and that's what we do for this. And that doesn't happen. There's a problem. Here's what you do to solve that problem. And we might not ever do that ever again. This is what you need at this time for this. And it's going to happen at this time. But there's no set book, or even if it's not written, there's no set Odu. There's no set ritual. It's going to happen, there we go, in real time. And that's why I say it's a living tradition, because next week it might change. It's highly adaptable. I don't if that makes sense. So yeah, I really realized that might be part of just, I think, the differentness is understanding, like, you can't put like a square peg in a round hole, because it doesn't fit. That's just, like, not how it works. It works in the way that it works. And it's been very interesting, because I think, like I said, this has to do with a paradigm, or like a mindset, that this is how this goes. This is how this goes in your tradition. Yeah, in your tradition there is a hierarchy, or you need to be initiated to do certain things, or to work certain things, or like I said, I'm not sure. This is just, for me, all from observation. But I really think we had to make space and make way for other types of traditions that exist, and just realize that they're not all structured in the same way. Not at all. It's like, literally, when I say it's apples and oranges, there's no other way for me to describe it other than apples and oranges. So I don't know if that's going to help anybody understand it any better, or because, like I was telling someone, it's a family group. So instead of belonging to, let's say, an Elay, all the people in my group I'm related to. Everybody, I believe at one point, was a spiritualist, or I would just still say is a spiritualist. It's just different. It's not. So yeah, I guess, like, how you have, God brothers and God sisters who are initiated and everybody's a priest. Yeah, the same thing, except just a family group and things just very fluid. Change like it's a very weird thing. Like I can't even describe it because I don't see tomorrow is going to be different. Next week is going to be different. Nothing is nothing is set in stone, and so I think that's a good way to describe it.